Tiny hands, nimble fingers. These children are trying to recover anything of value at this dump site in Accra, Ghana.
I break these computers and televisions apart for the metals. I'm going to sell it to buy food.
13-year-old Bafo Che scavenges here daily. It's dangerous work, he says.
Sometimes I get hurt. I get cuts from the glass. I had one here under my foot.
But cuts from shattered computer and television screens are only a small part of a much more severe health risk at electronic waste dumps. Exposure to carcinogens, toxic fumes and contaminated soil may prove deadly, experts say, and the problem is only getting worse. Electronic waste, or e-waste, is the third fastest growing source of rubbish in the world. Some 40 to 50 million tons of cell phones, televisions, refrigerators and computers are discarded every year worldwide. The United States alone produces 3 million tons a year, rapidly growing China 2.3 million tons. But for many like Bafo, it's the only way they know how to make money.
You'll make about 4,000 cities, less than $1. But that is not every day, on a good day. So there are times that he comes here, he doesn't make anything.
Mike Anane is a local journalist who lived here as a boy. Today, he barely recognizes the place he once called home.
I went to school somewhere there, so, we'd come here, play football and fish. It was so brilliant, it was so beautiful, but now it's horrible. Can't even find the words to describe it. A lot of people depend on these water bodies here. And over the years, they've been used as fishing grounds, but now they're completely dead. They contain nothing. Nothing ever lives in them.
Waste from computer circuit boards and batteries often contain mercury and cadmium, a human carcinogen that causes damage to the lungs and liver, say health experts. Even old television sets and computer monitors contain lead from the cathode ray tubes, a further health hazard. Mike fears it can be a death sentence for the boys working the dump.
This guy is burning the wires to extract the copper. This would be just about $1. But just imagine how much he's exposing himself to the lead, the cadmium, the flame retardants.
He's also anxious about his own health.
With all the toxic fumes, I get worried. Is this some kind of cancer that I'm getting as a result of my presence here? And the boys ask me a lot of times, are you not worried that you can get sick? Then I ask them, what about you? And they're like, well, who cares about us? You see, and that makes me really sad. They feel forgotten.
Forgotten and all too often left to sleep on the bare soil. Soil that's severely contaminated by e-waste.
And some of these have toxic materials in them that then find their way into the hydrological cycle, into the streams and rivers and groundwater, and back into humans.
Joaquim Steiner is head of the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP. He says computers and other electronic waste have been shipped from developed countries to less developed nations for years, some to be given as donations, others to be sold second-hand.
Up to 3/4 of these shipments of so-called reconditioned computers or computers for second-hand use are in fact not functional anymore.
What may have begun as an effort to bridge the digital divide, he says, is quickly turning into a mounting global problem. UNEP is now launching a project to help track the flow of cell phones, computers, and other electronic waste from the United States to Africa and Asia. But for Mike and the boys, waiting is not an option. They need answers now.
Each time I come here, I collect the ones with labels just to keep them as evidence because they still bear addresses and names of the previous owners. It's a property of U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
To help control the movement of hazardous waste across borders and to reduce the danger, UNEP did sponsor the Basel Convention, which came into force in 1992. It stressed the need for countries shipping e-waste to developing nations to receive prior consent.
These waste dumps cost money, they need to be managed, so if we can reduce the volume of waste, we have both an environmental and an economic benefit.
We cannot even manage our kitchen waste, our household waste. If there is any recycling facility that needs to be set up, then they should be set up in the industrialized countries that produce the bulk of the e-waste. They have to take care of their waste.
And that's exactly what a pioneering group of creative thinkers is already doing in South Africa, a country that produces 100,000 tons of its own e-waste annually is now spearheading efforts to deal with the consequences. It's an initiative that could prove to be a global model.
So two key strategies
The group, called the E-Waste Alliance, is comprised of 8 companies dedicated to discovering ways to manage e-waste responsibly. The company Just PCs in Cape Town is an alliance partner. Its owner, 26-year-old Justin Vanderwalt, has come up with an innovative solution to the growing e-waste problem: refurbishing computers, extending their lifespan.
We try to refurbish as much as possible components and computers so that there's less e-waste output in the end.
There's a 2.81.
There's also an additional benefit. These restored computers can now supply internet cafes in nearby townships as a low-cost alternative.
The aim of these internet business cafes is to get the computers to the people that need them the most, that cannot afford a new computer.
Another method alliance partners have developed to deal with e-waste: recycle material when it's no longer possible to extend the life of the product. Something this roof tile factory is doing with amazing results. They use plastic computer casings as recycled raw material for manufacturing.
They take the plastics and mix it with other plastics and make tiles or the low-income housing. It's very, very interesting, very nice, and it's actually cheaper than normal roof tiles and stronger. It doesn't break, so that's quite neat.
Useless metal casings and parts that can't be recycled are trucked to this nearby scrapyard for processing and smelting. These ventures are bringing much-needed business to South African companies, as well as creating jobs for the country's unemployed. But many experts believe that a lasting solution rests not only with companies, but with consumers. They say that until people stop buying things they don't need with money they don't have, working the dump in Ghana will continue to be a reality for boys like Bafo and his friends.
I just cut another finger. I'm not happy doing this.
Neither is Mike, who says he won't stop policing the dump site until he sees change.
It is rather a disservice to ship all these waste end-of-life computers to Africa under the guise of donations or second-hand equipment. It's just environmental injustice for another country to receive the waste of another country.